No, sir. Thank you for doing this.
Okay.
I'm
Have
really
we
grateful.
started?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let me start again.
All right.
No, sir. Thank you for coming. I really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Thank you. I want to start by asking you about yourself.
Okay.
Do you want to tell us who you are?
Yeah.
You're coming off the heels of a highly contested election
Mm-hmm.
3 months ago.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, who is GRV?
Well, my name is Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour. I'm an architect by profession. I also have interests in business that include development, construction, commodity trading, recycling. Um, I'm 40 years old. I'm from Lagos. I'm a proud indigen of Lagos. Um, I also have mixed heritage.
Yeah.
My mother is Igbo, and so my full names are Gbadebo Chinedu Patrick Rhodes-Vivour. Patrick was given to me by my grandmother,
Yeah.
who is actually from Guyana. My grandfather met her when he came to law school in London, and she was a nurse at the time. And my grandmother on my mother's side gave me the name Chinedu,
Yeah.
and Gbadebo was given to me by my grandfather.
Yeah.
He was also a titled man. He was a judge, and he was also a titled man in Yoruba land. So it's a very interesting,
Yeah, of
Now,
course.
when now I have to talk about, they ask you, who are you?
Yeah.
It has taken on a new meaning in my mind because of what I experienced during the elections, right? But other than that, yes, that's me. I'm married to a beautiful wife. I have two sons.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm also still practicing architecture.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about Lagos, very passionate about Nigeria, very passionate about Africa and the black man's journey on this planet. And I believe that it's with leadership, quality leadership, that puts the interests of people first, that Africa and the black man and Nigerians and Lagosians will be able to take their pride of place in this world.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if you look at what the UAE, Emirates that everybody's going to on holiday from Nigeria, what they've achieved in the last 20, 30 years is by virtue of quality leadership.
Yes.
And leadership that takes pride in the well-being of her people. Not just taking pride in the well-being of your family and your cronies and how much you'll be able to gather for yourself and form big man. But you're driving and there are potholes all over the place. You're seeing destitute children. You're seeing young men on drugs. But it's okay because you can travel abroad when you're ill. You can send your children abroad when they need to go to school. You can live in Banana Island and secure areas when you want to sleep at night. And that's not okay, right? So that's what has led me into politics.
Yes.
Plato's famous quote is, I'm going to paraphrase, it says something along the lines of, if you refuse to participate in politics, you'll be ruled by people that are less than you, right? Because you're constantly going to be complaining. And if you are complaining, it's because you believe you can do it better.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, we're gonna come to the Mama Chinedu stuff later. I mean, now you said Chinedu is your Igbo name.
Yes.
Now we know where that came from. We're gonna come back to that later on in the interview. But looking at you and looking at what happened 3 months ago, the way you're speaking with so much passion,
Yes.
you sound so refreshing. Your ideas were so refreshing for the common, not just Lagosians, but the common Nigerian.
Yes.
Nigerians all over Nigeria and all over the world could connect to you. You're young, you're vibrant, you speak well, you could relate to the average Lagosian, even those that we may call Aboros in parentheses in Lagos State, you could relate to them. And for me, that passion is something that we hardly see in our leaders in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So where does that passion, where does it come from? Where was it something that happened? Did something click in your mind when you were growing up? Because you've obviously been in activism before, you've been in politics for a while.
Yeah.
So where did that passion for politics and for leadership come from?
I think that if we look back, hindsight is always 2020.
Yes.
If I look back, I feel that my parents really put a lot of value on impact, on how you make things better. It was more that than, oh, you have to have a big car, or, or you have to be rich. There was a lot of value on how, if you don't have something good to say about something, then be quiet. If you are going to criticize something, do something about it.
Yes.
And the practical thing of this is, and I tell this story a lot. When I understood genetic modified foods, bear in mind I'm an architect, I'm not a scientist. But I also have interest in, I did A-levels biology and A-levels chemistry, so I have an understanding about genetics. So when I read about it and understood that the federal government was trying to bring it into Nigeria, and in that moment, I felt, well, I don't have what it takes to fight the government, but this is something I'm very much against, because I feel that to affect the life of my people, and somebody has to stand up against it. I remember I was very down and depressed, because in that moment I felt helpless. I felt that I could not do anything about it. This was like 2015, 2016.
Yes.
And I remember I went to go see my father, and my father noticed something different about me. And like, what's wrong? And I told him. And he said, so what are you going to do about it? It was not a conversation of, that's bad. Oh, this government is bad. Okay, and we'll carry on talking about something else. He said to me, what are you going to do about it?
Yes.
And I said, I don't know. He said, well, first you have to start by educating people. And he made calls. And newspaper editors were in the house the next day. That's how the journey started.
Wow.
Now, you might take that for granted, but it's not something that everybody thinks about, So I was raised not to just complain about stuff. When you complain, you are committing to doing something about it. Right? You are committed. In you complaining, you are committing to doing something about it. So you don't just talk anyhow.
Yes.
So, and that means that if you're going to, so when you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. So when people look at me and they look and say, this small boy, this, they've said all sorts. It was the governor of Lagos, blah, blah, blah. See, they don't understand the level of commitment to this level of sacrifice. Right? They don't have any clue. Right? So that's why they cannot understand the staying power.
Yes.
Because by now they would have expected to be quiet.
Yes.
That those calls that they may come and collect this amount of money and be quiet and have taken it. But they don't understand. So when I look back and the building up of it, I have to say it comes from the house. And I also have to say that this is looking back even more, because when you go through things like this and in your quiet times, you do a lot of soul searching. Because that value that I was raised with came from somebody who gave my father and somebody who gave him as well. Passed on. Yes. So I'll give you another story. My grand uncle, who is my grandfather's younger brother, he was 22 in Lagos. Very privileged. He was about to do his A-levels, was probably going to go to college in England. Very privileged kid. So I think it was early 20s. So he now read about what the Germans did in Namibia, that was the first place where they tested out the concentration camps.
Wow.
Yes, a lot of people don't know this, but the first place Germany tested out concentration camps were against Namibians in Namibia.
Really?
Shark Island, I think it was called.
Wow.
So they perfected it there before they now did it on the Jews.
Yes.
So when he now heard about that and saw the link and saw that Hitler could potentially win this war, if he was already doing this to Afghans before, can you imagine what he's going to do to Afghans now?
Yeah.
He went and registered to join the RAF.
Wow.
The Royal Air Force.
Wow.
Like, he literally participated in bombing of Berlin, Essen. He died on the bombing and the flight command of Nuremberg.
Wow.
He did that at 24.
Wow.
So
And you've got history.
No, yes, and that's why I'm very passionate about history as well, because it goes down. I keep going on. Like, I have people in the second ever judge in Nigeria was my great granduncle, and there was a time they tried to bribe him. He took the person to court. He didn't say no. He took the person to court.
Yeah.
So there are things that form. You might not realize it as a young man, but there are things that form your views about life and what is right and what is wrong and what do you do against something that is wrong. Do you just keep quiet and take it? Do you stand? What do you do?
Yes.
You know? And I think that's it. So when you see passion, and the passion I hear me, I was thinking about this yesterday. You see, there's so many good people in Nigeria. There are good people in Nigeria. There are good people. There are people that just want government. Just give us light.
Yeah. Basic things.
Just give us basic things. We will make this place great.
Of course. Definitely.
Government, get out of our way.
Yeah.
We will fly.
Yes. Don't impede on us.
Don't impede on us. They are not even asking government to do more than the basic. Just create an enabling environment. Leave the rest to us.
Yes.
And these are people, when you think of people that are successful in Nigeria and in Lagos, they are successful in spite of the government.
Yes.
It's not because of the government. In spite of the government. They are sitting there in 4 hours traffic every day and making moves. So, in Lagos, at least now, now people are having meetings on Zoom, on phone. But before, you have to see face to face to have meeting. So imagine you're in Lagos and you can do max maybe 2 meetings in a day. Imagine if there was no traffic and you could do 4 or 5 meetings. Imagine productivity.
Yes.
Imagine all those containers that are going to the port. They didn't have to sit down in almost 3-4 day traffic. They will go in, come out quickly. Imagine level of productivity. Imagine how much more people will make. Right? Imagine if I'm having to go to the market and I don't need to give all these agri so much money on the way. Imagine how many more people will be happy to go to the market.
Yes.
So they are making their success, and then think about the bribes that they have to pay to get C of O, plan approval, all the people they have to settle. Everything is in spite of the government.
Very true. Yeah.
So you have to think, imagine if a government actually put the needs of their people first and say, you people, I am your partner.
Yes.
You must succeed, because when you succeed, I also succeed.
Of course, yeah.
Not, I'm going to step on you, I'm going to steal your money,
Shock you with
all sorts of taxes,
yes.
so that I can build this new house on Bodilon.
Yeah.
I can use all this money and buy my way into office and be president. The rape of Nigerians, it's sad. And you know what is very intelligent, and you have to give the APC kudos on this, is that they are always so brilliant about dodging the conversation that really matters.
Very true. True.
They find a way to make it a conversation about tribe.
Yeah, distract us from the real thing.
Religion.
Yeah.
Religion. Tribe. They won't come and tell you, this is the money that Alpha Beta is taking. This is why he's taking this. That money, and we'll say back to them, this money could have been used to build more schools. This money could have been used to do empowerment programs for all these young men on the road. All these people we are calling agbiros. And give them skills to become a successful member of society. But no. This money could have been used for getting people off drugs. You know the amount of drug prevalence in Lagos State now? It's huge. The amount of young people on drugs, huge.
Crazy. It's not what they say, oncolos.
Yes. It's huge.
That's a new
and
trend.
then you see them making decisions and doing things, raping, killing people, robbing people. And you get angry that, these people are just area boys, they're just thugs. But at the end of the day, these are vulnerable youth.
Looking for opportunities.
That the state has failed them.
Yes.
And now we demonize them. But the state is using money. I mean, there are children in Lagos State that are still sitting on the floor in school.
Yes.
right? So they will never come and have these conversations.
Yeah.
Right? When Jimmy Gbadebo was running, they say he wanted to elevate the Ezes in Dibo to be higher than the Oba of Lagos. And then everybody go, Jimmy wants to do Igbo takeover. Jimmy. And then they worked against him. Funshaw Williams, they said the same thing. Because his wife was Igbo.
Yeah.
Right? Dapo Sarami, they said the same thing.
Yeah.
So this is the same playbook they use again and again. Like, I would have loved a situation where we talked about the issue. Because, see, well, and let me say it here. Being able to speak the language of the people that you want to lead is extremely important.
Yes.
It's important because language gets into a person's heart.
Of course. Subconscious.
Subconsciously.
Yes.
Not necessarily their mind, but their heart.
Yes.
And when you want to speak to a person, especially language like Yoruba that's so rich, you know, Yoruba is a language that is visual. It communicates something deeper. Like, for instance, if you want to say you're happy in Yoruba, you say, "Inu mi dun." So, like, inside me is happy. Yes. You know, and when you're able to communicate in that language, it's a very important thing. You know, so I don't belittle it at all, and it's something that I'm taking very seriously. Right? I've always said it's not that I cannot speak Yoruba; it's my intonations and my accents always put me in a funny situation, and obviously, because I'm so used to speaking clearly and expressing myself fully, it makes me shy to communicate in language that I feel I might not be as proficient in. But that is well and good.
Yeah.
At the same time, I will not say in Yoruba to traffic, go away. And the traffic will go away.
Yeah.
I will not write my policies to the World Bank or to European Union that we're going to get funding from to be able to generate power, clean energy that can power our primary schools, our hospitals. The young woman that died in a hospital because there was no oxygen or because there was no light, I will not speak Yoruba to the generator and it's going to bring the light. So what I'm trying to say is that there are issues that are affecting human beings.
Yes.
That's affecting your life. I mean, the colonialists, Lord Lugard and all them, Lord, they were not speaking any Nigerian language. But a lot of people tell you that colonial Nigeria was run far better than what is being run today.
100%. 100%.
They will tell you that. They will tell you that. And it's a sad thing to say. I'm not happy to say it, but they will tell you that, you know, things were working.
Yeah, I agree. Of course.
Things were working.
Yeah.
It's very sad to say this. But again, so these are British people, they're not even Nigerian.
Exactly.
They don't speak any language, but the focus was on issues. And now imagine, as a people, you now have one of your own that is ready to work and deliver for you and actually focus on issues that affect your life. The issues that make a driver that's earning only 40,000 naira a month be so determined that he must send his children to private school. Can you imagine the kind of high jump that driver has put himself on? When it's time to pay school fees, all their hearts will be beating.
Yeah.
But if the public school was working and people felt that, if I send my child to this public school, they will get a good education. Yes. My father went to Greg's. Greg's was a public school at the time. Casey was a public school, right? I mean, I'm sure that it still is in some sort of way, but, you know, a lot of people would not feel, even these schools, they have strong alumni that are helping them and supporting them. But the typical public school, right, at primary level, at secondary level, a lot of people don't feel that they're going to get quality education. Only 14% of the total group of people that send their children to school send their children to public school.
Yeah.
Everybody goes private. And public school and public institutions are supposed to reduce the stress on the average Lagosian, on the average Nigerian. Yes. So even if you're not earning so much, the government is creating a system where the future of our nation, of our state, is being educated well.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. Same thing. So I always say that two things the government should never fully allow to be subcontracted. Or what's the word? or just giving out. They should have a hand on it, a firm hand on it.
Priority.
Yes, education and healthcare.
Yes.
Education and healthcare. So so that's it. I feel that language is important.
No, I agree.
You know, ideally, to be honest with you, I wish, and I most likely will, because I've set my mind to it, most likely will, in the next 10 years, be able to speak fluently Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa.
That's massive.
Yeah, because it's a skill.
To help you connect to
Everybody is,
guy,
yeah,
the average
is a
Igbo
skill.
guy,
It's a skill.
Of
It's
course.
a skill,
Yeah.
right? Because you see, Lagos is also very peculiar. Because Lagos, when there was a Northern Protectorate, Southern Protectorate, Lagos was on its own.
Yeah.
Lagos had its own culture. There was a
Yes.
Victorian Lagos.
Yes.
And the people that made that were the indigenous of Lagos. And the things that they valued were very different. Because I tell people that you have to understand that those people in Lagos, they were not just dealing with fellow Nigerians, they were dealing with Europeans. Their businesses were international. And they were moving and having business interests across West Africa. A lot of people don't know the history of this class of indigenous of Lagos. So, I mean, you look at it like, I had an uncle that was in Oxford in 1888.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we've been producing Oxford graduates since the 1800s. So as the thing that we look at in terms of, okay, what is excellence? What is service? It's more about values that you are going to be able to bring to the table in terms of not being corrupt, not being corruptible, ensuring that you are putting the interests of your people first, ensuring that you are serving excellence, and excellence not based on mediocre standards, but excellence based on global standards.
I love that.
You understand?
That. Yes.
Global standards. So you'll be looking at partnerships with fellow excellent institutions that are going to bring in.
Yes.
And when you start looking at merit and excellence, you stop seeing tribe.
Yes.
It's just the truth.
Yeah.
The more exposed you get, the less tribalistic you tend to be.
Of course.
Because you are seeing past a person's color, you are seeing past a person's tribe, you are seeing past a person's background. Yeah. You are focused on merit. So it's like there was a famous member of the parliament that they're having a debate, and he said he went to the hospital and he got treated by a Nigerian, and the anesthetist was from Iran, and that. At that point, if the guy is a bigot or he does not like black people or Asian people or whatever, point is, these are the excellent people that can give you the service that you need in this moment.
Exactly. Yes.
So you have to, in that moment, see past the color of their skin,
of course,
or where they are from, or the God that they worship.
Yes.
Because you are focused on a service.
Yes.
And this tribe thing has really held us back as a people for a very, very long time. It has held us back as a people. So I'm just trying to give you some context to my... There was something that they did on social media. They went and took tweets that tweeted in favor of... What IPOB was then is not what IPOB is now.
It's morphed into something else.
Morphed into something completely else. Yeah. So he took these old tweets that I supported and I pushed out the idea, because at a point in our story recently, there was a lot of animosity towards the Southeast.
Yes.
Whether it's the checkpoints that were existing every 5 minutes, I think they had Python dance or something dance that
Operation
they had.
Python dance,
Operation Python dance. And just the level of intimidation and negativity towards them. And see, my value system is to stand against oppression.
Of course. Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
Yes.
If you go back and look at my older tweets, you see tweets against the oppression of natives of Brazil. See tweets against in support of, when I was completely against the attack on Iraq. Because I knew there was no weapons of mass destruction. If you go back, you see there's consistency.
Yes, in your belief system.
Yes, but what they left out, right? And that's why I say they are good people.
Yeah.
There was a young man that went through all my tweets, right?
Wow.
And he brought everything out. He showed tweets that I made about Sunday Igboho, how he's a hero, about Pai Adebanjo, Rotimi Akeredolu, because when Fulani herdsmen were coming into Oyo, and you know there was a time where this was happening,
yes.
and we're just killing people and massacring people anyhow. And Tinubu was quiet. Tinubu, when they wanted to pass Ruga, water resource bill, Tinubu put out a document talking about ranch and this and that. He was just sidestepping it. Why? Because he had an interest with president and he wanted their backing. And he put that his interest above the immediate interest of his people.
Yes.
People like Rotimi Akeredolu could have run for president. But in the moment where he stood up and said, you cannot keep killing my people like this and get away with it, and started pushing together Amotekun, and other leaders like Sunday Igboho stood up, there are tweets where are completely talking about that favorably. Like, yes, that for people to stand up for Yoruba nation, agitation to be happening is because leadership has failed.
Yes.
And I documented all of that, but they will not tweet those ones, you know. Exactly. So it's sad. It's sad that, you know, that dog whistle.
Yeah.
The APC, in whatever shape or name they call themselves, they've perfected it to the point where they always use it, and a lot of people fall for it.
Yes.
But, you know, for me, by God's grace, we are going to emerge. You know, we're in court now. We're going to emerge victorious. And the response will be to, you know, really respond with love. Try to those people that they take advantage of and they manipulate. To show them that, listen, your enemy is not the man that's speaking a different tongue to you. Your enemy is the person in charge of your resources that's still pressing you down.
Yes.
It's the person that is not making roads to be accessible to your markets. The person that's creating flooding in your environment so your children cannot go to school because their primary school has flooded today. Your market stinks because gutters are being run over. There's flooding. You have to walk and water is almost at your knee. That is your enemy.
Yes.
You know? So that's it.
I mean, one thing, I was talking to David a couple of weeks ago, and he was making the case that Tinubu and his cohorts, they don't really have any, and not, let me just paraphrase and say they're not smart, they don't know what that is, they just know how to use violence and power. And for me, like you said, the APC, they are masters of information warfare.
Yes,
they are masters of manipulation.
They
are very good at this game.
Yeah.
I mean, come to think of it, 200 million Nigerians have been kept in captivity for 60 plus years. That takes a lot of intellect and smarts and skills to do. It doesn't take a fool cannot just keep Nigerians in captivity for that long. It's not possible. So, like you said, and I agree with you, you must give these people kudos and say these guys, they know what they're doing. They are smart at divide and conquer.
Yes.
Divide us on tribe, on religion, on things that shouldn't even divide us at all. We should all be together. Like you rightly said, Lagos is a melting pot. Whether you're Igbo, Yoruba, it doesn't matter. What matters is on Monday morning, we're all out hustling. Exactly. We all want to get bread for our family.
Exactly.
We don't care whether you're speaking Yoruba or your Mama Chinedu or your Kolade or whatever. What matters is that we just want to go out, earn a good living for ourselves, come back securely to our family, live a good life, have light at the end of the day. So those things, but they found a way and it works. And this is what I wanted to ask you, because this Mama Chinedu thing and what we saw in your election, it was so disgusting for me to see. And many other Nigerians, I would believe, that we are still at this level where tribal politics is still playing a key role.
But you know what it is. Yes, I would say that it's intelligence. But you know, there's different applications of intelligence. There's an intelligence that you would apply where your people will be united towards a common goal, which is to create the most excellent, most livable city in Africa. You can unite people for that.
Yes.
Or you can divide and rule people and have a divided state where people no longer feel safe. Because you see the thing that people don't understand. I say this thing and people don't realize it. The biggest casualty of bigotry is the bigot themselves. Now, on the surface, a lot of people might, what are you saying? But in reality, you see that violence that came out against non-Yoruba, in their mind, non-Yoruba people, that violence has been unleashed.
Yes.
Now, those people now know that they can do that and get away with it.
Yes.
You cannot call it back.
Yeah.
That violence is still going to find Yoruba people that is going to attack.
Yeah.
Because you see, once people feel that they have a certain level of power, you cannot trick them into believing they no longer have that power. So that violence will be manifested in the Lagos state official that's going to come and be harassing you about whatever charges that they have. It's going to be manifested in the area boy that's going to start robbing and thugs because they feel that it's their time now.
Yes.
The man that they support won, and he gave them permission to unleash violence. So violence is the way.
Yes.
Now you see, everybody is going to go back to their lives, but that element is now there.
The genie is out of the bottle, like
It's
they say.
there. It's now there with you.
Yes.
You are going to have to deal with it. So that's what I mean. But some people were clapping. Do you know how many Yoruba people were hurt because they looked Igbo or they looked like obedience? So many. And then there's the whole negative thing that has now come into Lagos. See, the reason why most businessmen, no matter where they're from, whether they're from Kano, Enugu, Kogi, they have a house in Lagos. Why? Because Lagos is considered as safe.
Yeah. Accepting of any caution.
Lagos is considered as welcoming.
Yes.
Welcoming. And guess what? Because of that, there's so much cash flow and resources that come into Lagos.
Yeah.
There's so many people that do developments in Lagos, build tall towers, build housing, all of that.
Yes.
Because everybody feels that Lagos State is welcoming. The moment you start to make people feel that that is not the case,
Yes.
people don't start to feel that, they don't feel secure that they should invest in Lagos anymore. When people don't feel they should invest in Lagos anymore, and that starts to reduce, then the demand for construction workers starts to reduce.
Yeah.
The demand for materials starts to reduce, services. All of these things have a multiplier effect.
Yeah.
Again, when I say the biggest casualty of bigotry is the bigot themselves. Right? And also, the other part of it is when they have deceived you that your enemy is the person, is Mama Chinedu, then you have again been fooled to not challenge the real problems affecting your life.
Yeah.
Why is your local government not working?
Yes.
Why are your gutters exposed and people are dying of malaria and typhoid in 2023? Why are your primary schools, your healthcare system not working? Do you know how many people die because there's no oxygen in hospital? People that did not need to die.
Oh.
People are misdiagnosed. Your healthcare system is a mess. In Nigeria, it's just by virtue of God.
Yes.
You get sick in that country, you can really find yourself in a mess. Yes, there are hospitals. I've read situations where there are performing doctors that are doing things, everything. But when the leaders of your country, the elite, the people that have the means are always heading out, that itself is an indictment on your healthcare system.
It's an indicator.
It's not something that is it's not a subjective thing.
Of course.
It's not it's not an emotional thing.
It's what it is, yes. Exactly.
Donald Trump is not traveling to Israel
Never.
to get treatment.
Never.
Boris Johnson, when he was sick or he had whatever he had, he was in London. I doubt that the president of South Africa is living in South Africa. Even the president of Namibia is living in Namibia for healthcare.
Even Rwanda.
Even when they have a solid healthcare system. So this is not just European or American. Namibia, they have a solid healthcare system, right? So So you have those are issues.
Yes.
It's not Mama Chinedu that is the agbero that is disturbing your car from moving or trying to rob take your side mirror or any of that. And then creating and perpetuating that system that allows them to feel that their power, their state back. Mama Chinedu will not do all of that. And when Mama Chinedu goes into her house and is reading her book and being proud of her son, those problems are still going to be there. You're going to wake up and sit down in that 4 hours traffic. Mama Chinedu has retired. She's at home. She doesn't need to sit down in traffic with anybody. She's not your enemy. You understand? But unfortunately, you have been fooled again.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a guy, I think is Desradi. I've forgotten his name. But there's a very famous quote that he said, and I'll paraphrase because I can't remember the exact words. He said, they came for the Muslims, we kept quiet. They came for the Christians, they kept quiet. They came for the Jews, kept quiet. When they come for you, everybody's going to be quiet.
Exactly.
So when you see injustice, and because in your mind you think, they are the others, and you clap and you keep quiet, eventually that thing will find its way. It's not a curse. It's not a curse. It's just history. It's just life. Right? That's why there's a concept of justice. Justice. And that's why, if you notice, Lady Justice, she's blindfolded. So she's not looking at where you are from. She's not looking at what you look like, what tribe. It's supposed to be for everybody. So that it is not, that thing is not coming back. Justice. Right? So, you know, I feel that it's sad because we had a very big opportunity to hold this government accountable. But instead, they fooled them into making something that is not a tribal issue become a tribal issue.
But how did that make you feel when MC Olomo said what he said? How did that personally, like you said, right? Your wife is Igbo. Your wife's mom is Igbo as well. I mean, you have an Igbo name as well. On a personal human level, you have those connections, those family connections. When you saw that happening on a gut level, how did that make you feel?
My friend said to me, a good friend, went to uni together. He said, you know, that I feel bad, but I'm happy that for a couple of days, you've known what the average Igbo person experiences in Nigeria.
Wow.
You have gotten a glimpse of it.
Wow.
And I saw it.
Perfect. That's good. Yeah.
There's whatever. They're a group of people because this is not everybody. I mean, if you look at the intermarriage between any tribe in Nigeria, the biggest one is Yoruba.
Yeah, exactly. David said the same thing. Yeah.
David. I mean, if I say David, who was like, I was going to use an example of a David. I mean, they are delicates. Right? Davido, he's married to an Igbo girl. His father's mother was an Igbo woman. I think the father's mother is even from my mother's village.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, even Tinubu's son, at least the woman is half Lebanese, half Igbo or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I heard of that, yes.
I heard.
That's
I don't know.
She's wife, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I heard of that.
But the point is, there is so much intermarriage. Where do you want to start separating these people now? You know? So, it's for me, it's just a group of people, which I call the loud minority. But you see, the issue is that because they've been so good at this dog whistling, even the ones that are supposed to know better, be it because these people have been in power for so long and they've gotten used to them, so they're afraid of what will happen. We don't know this guy. We don't have access to him. Or what will he change? What will he remove? What will he bring out? You know? And a lot of them have also, because I mean, this group of people have been at the helm of affairs for over 2 decades. So they have a lot of friends in the system.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that have made money with them. Even if it's not them directly, they have an auntie, they have an uncle, they have a brother that has worked with them, that knows them. So there's that fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Right? So they're still, but at the same time, right? Because of whatever fear does not justify sitting down in a shit pool of mediocrity.
Yes.
Another thing that Lagos is dealing with, and the people of Lagos, is, you see, because like I told you the history, Lagos was on its own.
Yeah.
It was its own protectorate, and we had our own culture of excellence. Excellence. It's not by accident that Lagos State is called the center of excellence. Now, based on that, people compare Lagos to the rest of Nigeria and say Lagos is okay. But Lagos State, I tell people, as far back as 1966, was ranked with one of the top. When they put the best cities in the world, it was part of it. Now it's ranked as one of the worst. It has been ranked like that for the last 10 years. And because we have normalized suffering and mediocrity, we don't even know. I know we know, because a lot of these people travel to London, they see how it's organized. But they've just accepted it.
Yeah.
And that's no longer acceptable.
Yeah.
No longer acceptable.
Yeah.
So if you're uncomfortable about creating somebody coming and disrupting a system that has just created a situation where a few people are rich at the expense of so many people, that has destroyed the destiny of so many people. There's a young man I know, his car was robbed. I believe it was around that the bridge, that island side. And they had these pellet guns, these guys.
Yeah.
And they shot at him. And he lost his eyesight.
Wow.
In Lagos.
Wow.
Now, was that supposed to be? Why am I not just walking? Yes, there are knife crimes in all of these places, but there are cameras to find the people.
Of course, yeah.
They will find the people, they'll take them to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Up to now, they've not caught that guy that shot this guy now.
Wow.
So what is the factor that will stop it from happening again?
Yeah. There's no justice.
There's no justice.
Yes.
And where there's no justice, there can be no peace.
Of course.
So the point of the matter is this. You cannot have a situation where we're just going to sit down in mediocrity. We know all the things that are wrong, but because, we can afford to build a big fence and gate. We can afford to live in Banana Island. We are living on the island, so we feel safer than people in Nigeria.
It doesn't work that way.
So if I have to grab you by your collar and drag you into excellence, I am not going to be apologetic about it. Because enough.
Yeah.
It's enough. 20 years is enough. You've had 20 years to sort out this problem. But you didn't. They've been talking about Fort Mainland Bridge for the last 15 years. They've been talking about this train project. Did anybody use the train today? Buhari came on commission. Did anybody use that train today?
Blue line.
They are constantly talking about this 14 years old.
Yeah.
Are constantly talking about how they are still doing test run for 13 kilometers of rail. That means are doing 120, 160 kilometers.
High speed, though.
High speed.
Yes.
High speed. When I finished my A levels, I went to Japan for a month, and I went on the Shinkansen from Osaka to Tokyo. High speed bullet train.
Yeah, fast.
Now, what I'm describing to you was in 2002, 2003.
Wow.
The Shinkansen has been in operation since 2002, 2003.
Wow.
Because after that, I then went to uni. So, this is the level that people are at. Back then.
Yeah.
We are in 2023, still talking about 13 kilometers of blue rail. So, you see, because a lot of people have gotten so used to mediocrity, and also because they are eating with them, so they cannot talk.
Yes.
And that's why I thank God. Someone said on my Instagram, and I actually responded. I usually don't respond, but I actually responded to this. The guy said, I beg, congratulations on Olu and all this, but how much will it cost? How much will they pay you? I said, I thank God that I'm neither poor or incontent. So I'm going to talk.
Yes.
No matter how many people come and tweet or anything. In fact, the more that they tweet, the more I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk. I don't need their money.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
God has blessed me.
Yes.
However little, however much, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So, and that is the role that people should be. People should be courageous. People should speak truth to power. Because if everybody kept quiet, the small things that are good that we have, will not even have them.
Did you see them pushing the train? there was this video where they were pushing.
that thing I've seen them push trains.
It's crazy.
Wait. I've seen them push trains in Europe. Yes.
Human beings.
Okay. Now I don't know what it is. I don't know the exercise that we're doing. No, I don't know. See, if I know something, I'll tell you authoritatively. Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But is that image real? It seems like it was real.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah.
Whether they are pushing, they are not pushing. What matters to me is that we need a statewide rail network. These people have been doing this thing for the last 15 years. The monies that they've taken for it or said that they use for it don't make any sense at all. There's no accounting, there's no transparency to it. It just seems that this is a white elephant project that they're just taking a lot of money from. And the daily life of Lagosians have not improved. They're putting more cars on the road. There's more traffic. There's so much more.
So in your opinion, one way we can solve the traffic epidemic in Lagos is by having a lot of this other, like whether it's the blue line.
You need alternative means of transportation. Water transportation is extremely important.
Okay.
Developing the water transportation system, having industrial-sized ferries moving people around, normalizing.
Just like you have in London here.
Yeah. Normalizing the water transportation system as well. Normalizing it so that people feel that, it's a real part of Lagos and is a standard way of moving around. So that's also about shifting people's attitude towards moving around on water. And you have to dredge the waterways so people can move around and make it easily accessible, right? And you have to plan and design these things properly.
Yeah.
And then train transportation as well, ride sharing, using technology, to ensure that you can maximize on each car on the road.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're coming back and you're seeing in traffic on Third Mainland, there's just 2 people in each car, right? If you can create a system where 4 people are in each car, 5 people are in each car, maximizing that. Yes, you decongest the roads. Also, with technology now, you can also advocate for people to work from home.
Yes.
Right, and give tax credits to companies that have that system set up. So the important thing is to reduce the number of cars on the road.
Yes.
But then you find a state like Lagos that thinks it's a bright idea to go and be trying to tax Uber and all these ride-sharing apps and introducing their own taxis. But because they felt that these people are making money, so let us to join and make money.
I even saw a video of, I think that was few months before the election. I saw the governor bought lots of brand new cars and added this. I'm like, what's the whole point? We're talking of decongesting the road and you're adding more cars again. But let me talk about something that is close to my heart. I've watched videos on YouTube about this lots of times. Celebrities, they've gone there. Obviously, Makoko, it very well. And for me, it's a pity and it's a shame that in a city like Lagos State, you have thousands of people living in the largest, I think it's the largest floating slum in the world, if I'm not wrong. What would you do? What would you do as governor of Lagos State if elected or if you win your court case to turn that place around or to take those people from there and move them to a better place?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. So when I win my court case, because I'm going to win, it's a very sensitive matter. So, you see, uprooting people has a lot of bad consequences. You see, Makoko is a very, very old community. Makoko. I say before they come and start making fun of me again. It's a very old community of a lot of indigenes of Lagos. You have the Eguns that are there. You have a lot of indigenes of Lagos that live there. a lot of Awori that live there. And they've built communities there, and they've been there for generations. For me, the solution is to create and upgrade the entire place.
Okay.
And create a unique architecture in that same design language that becomes a trademark of those people. Right?
Yeah.
So, houses on stilts, floating houses, all of that.
Yes.
How can you redefine that in a way that they have proper sanitation, they can get rid of their waste properly, there's a school, there's infrastructure, there's a network of moving around those spaces that are that's better, that's safer, you know, and makes it, and then also create something that attracts and draws people in there. An art district, a gallery, a place where you can go and see artisans work, a place where you can get unique Lagos art. So tourists will go and visit, not just visit to go and see, oh, these are poor people living here, but visit because there's value that is there.
Yes.
Right? And then build higher so that you can accommodate more people and it's better designed and better orchestrated.
Yes.
Right? Not just a sprawling slum, but a well-organized piece of architecture. And you see, the thing with that part as well is because of its position and because of the Third Mainland Bridge, and that's why it actually got a lot of attention, everybody can see.
Yes, exactly.
So it can
the contrasts.
Yes, so the contrast. So in resolving that situation, you can actually create an icon. In the design, you can create an iconic piece, a statement piece that can be part of the imagery of Lagos. A unique thing that people want to come and see.
Of course.
You know, that's where I will lean towards. Now, you see, the people there also, a lot of them, they're into wood, drying wood, cutting wood. There are a lot of Ikeja people there as well. So they bring the wood from Ondo State. And then, Ondo, when you look at it on the water, it's not far.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ikeja, and they bring the wood there.
Okay.
They dry, they cut it, all of that. So even if you want to move the people away from that, you're moving them away from their means of living, which is always a bad idea. Right? And you must treat people as human beings. You must show care. Not just people that, okay, maybe because they don't have the power or the resources or the network, you just, like flies, you just use your sword and just swat them, go to this place, swat them, go to this place. There are developments that you can do. And you see, even in England here, for you to get planning approval, you must have a level of low-income housing built into your plan, right? So it's having that. So you create a new development there, but also give these people a pride of place, right? Design something nice, give them pride of place, right? And create something iconic, right? That's the direction I'll go.
No, that makes sense because for me, it's something that for me, like, this thing talked about floating buildings. It's being done in Saudi Arabia.
Oh yes,
it's been done in Dubai. So it's not as if it's
even that one is being done at a very high sophisticated level.
Yeah,
I mean there are floating structures all in the Netherlands.
Yes,
places that have very high water levels.
Venice, Italy.
Venice. Yes, let's use Venice because you can't compare Venice to what they are doing in Dubai or any of those places. But so we have structures like that. But the idea is how can we elevate the design and typology of that type of wooden architecture to create our own unique brand of architecture that people will be interested to come and see from all over the world, right? I mean, every group of people have their own unique style of design. And yes, there's now an international type of architecture, the glass, yes. But, a lot of people will not go to Dubai or any of these places. You want to see something unique, craftsmanship,
of course,
right? And imagine if we had a competition design competition to actually design that place out and factor in housing for the people that are already there.
That makes sense.
Perfect, and then also create something new. Also, down the road, there's that ferry terminal. If I'm not sure when last you've been to Lagos, but there's that ferry terminal that nobody is really using. Right? But if you wrap all of those things in, right, and then on the other side of the road, there's land that they've sandfilled at the end of Third Mainland Bridge. Right, for me, those places will be places that are high design car parking spaces. I'm not sure. There's some structures where you drive your car and then it goes up.
Oh, you have seen that.
You've seen those. Imagine having a parking lot of all of those things. So you're not necessarily building a concrete structure. You're having these platforms all over space. So you can come park your car, get on a ferry, go to the island, do your thing. Come back, get your car, go where you're going. Right? These are things that and when you now tie all of that in. So on your way back, you're passing through an art gallery, a fish farm, a place where you can buy fish, buy crabs or whatever, pick up some art, pick up, a market, and then you get to your car, you go home. That's how a city is built and a city works.
Honestly, beautiful. Like, I agree with everything you just said, because for me, it's like these ideas are so refreshing. Like, it's so refreshing to see someone talk about building things to world-class standard. It's so new and it's so nice to see someone talk about meritocracy, not just mediocrity. Talking about let us build the best of the best.
Of course.
Not being comfortable with just building something, maybe classrooms and just...
And then they'll paint it.
Yeah.
And they say, we have done something.
Come on, man. Come on. Like, it makes no sense. So for me, it's like, I don't know why they didn't allow you to win this election.
Don't worry. What they only delayed the inevitable. That's all.
But what is your assessment about what happened 3 months ago, February 18th? What was your genuine assessment of what happened?
Okay. So I'll give you the national assessment and I'll give you the Lagos assessment because they are very different. Now, I must give credit to the president because their attempts to remove money out of politics.
You mean Buhari?
Buhari.
Okay.
The attempts, they tried this new currency, reduce the money in circulation. So those elections, to a large part, not entirely, but to a large part, was not determined by money.
Okay.
And I think that was a positive step for our democracy. Beavers also play a significant role because people could not rig as easily as they used to. So you had a situation where governors that were trying to become senators did not succeed.
Yes.
You had a situation where governors or potential big wigs lost in their states. Right? So on that national level, for the presidential election, I feel that there were some positive steps that were made. Now, on the Lagos state situation, you see, that first election, we had closer to 900,000 votes than what was declared.
Wow.
So there was a level of rigging that happened. I actually believe that they did a miscalculation. That's how we're able to win with they said 10,000 votes or something. We had a huge margin.
Wow.
Huge margin. That is just nothing like 10,000 votes. And INEC was complicit in that. And then the governorship election in Lagos was a complete sham. And we went into the election with a lot of hope and faith in INEC.
Yes.
We believed in electronic transmission of votes. We believed that IREV, but these guys literally came as the third arm of APC.
Yes.
The first arm is the party, so the second arm is the Agberos, and the third arm was INEC. So Agberos and the police. Third arm was INEC, right? Agberos, police, and traditional institutions. I have to say that because when a king is calling Oro during the day, that's never done.
What do you call in
Oro, you know, they said
What
they were going to do Oro. There's an Oro festival.
Okay.
The Oro festival is supposed to cleanse the land.
Okay.
But the Oro festival is usually done by the Oro people that belong to the Oro cult.
Okay.
And when this is being done, it's only those people that belong to that cult that can see it.
Okay.
So that's why it's done at night.
Okay.
And the king will warn everybody, don't come out. We are going to do this cleansing. We are going to do this Oro festival. But these people, when they declared they'll do Oro on Friday, Saturday, when they moved the election, they also postponed their Oro festival. Then, when it was now time for Oro festival, they now did it during the day, which is an abomination. Right, so that was very disgraceful. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It's disgraceful. You know, traditional leaders should be fathers of everybody.
They're part of the system. They're part of what is
Yes,
wrong
but
in a
no,
way.
no. They're supposed to be, yes, in Lagos, yes.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be elevated.
Yes, true.
You know, like the Queen of England, you will not see her openly supporting Labour Party or
Never.
Conservatives.
Never.
The Oba of Benin, you will not see him openly supporting any politician.
Never.
He will, all of you will come to his house. He will welcome all of you. He will not come on TV and say he has chosen this person.
Never.
The Awujale of Ijebu of Ogun State, that Remo Kingdom, all of that. You see him, even the Alake, they don't come out and say, we are behind this
They're
person.
very neutral.
They play it neutral.
Yes.
Privately, you can have your wishes.
Yes.
Privately, you can have your meetings and everything, but you don't come against a politician because now you have reduced your seat.
Yes. You're an institution. You shouldn't be doing
Yes,
that.
you
You're an
reduce your
institution,
seat to that.
Yeah.
Right? So, for me, I feel that if we have a system that truly works, INEC is working, the police is working, they're truly independent, and we can actually put in people that represent the will of the people and remove them if they mess up, then you start creating a different type of politician.
Yeah.
And when you have a different type of politician, you have quality service delivery.
Yes.
Because now they feel if we don't deliver for these our people, they'll kick us out.
Of course.
And then guess what? You, the people, will be the ones that will enjoy. What if somebody believes that he just has to pay this thug, this Agbero, to come out, use violence, push in? Why will he enter and solve any of your problems?
No.
He will just plan that in 4 years' time, bring Agbero again now. Yeah. And this time, there will not even be election. They will just announce the result at 6 a.m. on the day of election. And if you come out, they will beat you, they will slap you.
Yeah. In what way did INEC play a role? Like, we all know that IREV didn't work the way it should have worked. The way the Electoral Act, the wording of the Electoral Act wasn't followed. Whether it was on the presidential election or in the governorship, it didn't happen the way it was written in the amended Electoral Acts. It didn't happen that way. So in what way would you say that INEC put their hand on the scale?
Oh, several ways. I mean, they did not transmit results, and then they went to Coalition Center and started working towards the answer backwards. So they started changing results. You know, I mean, if you watch the video I did for my institution on the day of election, we're literally showing results that have been uploaded on the IREV. Like, you literally see a 20 had become 200, a 75 had become 15.
They used Tipex
and all of that. You had people that were literally, you know, working hand in hand with the area boys that came. You had the situation where they were bringing out, so for instance, in I think it's VGC, they refused because normally Labour Party wins there in landslide. They refuse to take the ballot papers inside their
Yes, I saw
estate
that.
because their estate is safe.
Yes.
They wanted to put it on the road so people will be afraid to come out. And then they had area boys and thugs there to snatch and scatter the place. Right? And this happened all across Lagos State. There are situations where, like in Ojo, they just scattered the place, burnt all the results, basically just instructed INEC to write whatever they wanted to, told them to write. And so that's it.
But what would you have, looking back now, right? I know you're still in courts, and I'm sorry, even though you're optimistic, whenever it comes to court cases in Nigeria, I'm not always optimistic, whether it's electoral case or any case at all, because we all know the way the Nigerian system works.
You see, let me come in there.
Okay.
You see, if we all accept the way Nigerian system
I'm
works,
not accepting it, though.
I'm saying, but in saying we all know the way it works, it affects your approach to solving a problem.
Okay.
And in it being affected, in your approach to solving a problem being affected, you will not make an attempt to solve that problem.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. See, in last 20 plus years, where APC had his way with Lagos State, and NERTW under MC Uloma and whoever is in charge has been one that has been distributing the election materials.
Yes.
I remember when I ran for local government chairman, just to give you an instance why this is important. We went to Birrell to go and sign and to answer some questions, blah, blah, blah. And the buses came to move the materials, these buses. And inside the buses, they were flying APC flags, moving election material. So that was the first time I saw it. So that's why I took it very seriously. So we went to court and got an injunction to say INEC cannot work directly with MC Olomo.
It's not possible. It's not. Why?
No, but we got a judgment.
You're right, I agree.
But a lot of people tell you it's not possible to get a judgment like that in Lagos.
Even though he was going to do that this last election, right?
Yes.
And you guys, someone else went to court.
It's me that went to court.
Yeah, exactly.
We went to court. People would have told you it's impossible to get a judgment.
The arrogance.
That's what it is. The arrogance will exist because people have not tested it. People just accept.
That's crazy.
People just accept it. No, I mean, if people constantly accept you, if you come into an office and you slap everybody and everybody accepts it,
they will keep on slapping. They will come
you
back
keep
again and
slapping
do it.
them.
Yes.
By the time you've done that for 3 months, if someone tells you, if somebody tells you that you cannot slap them tomorrow morning, you will slap that person. So are you mad? Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
The arrogance will set in.
Yeah.
So bullying is a two-way street. At a point, you have to stand up to the bully.
Of course.
Right? So we went to court. We got that. I've gone to Supreme Court in this past 6-7 months. I had a case that went all the way to Supreme Court.
Wow.
And the judiciary has been fantastic.
Nice.
So you see, I cannot now say that this is how it works, so it's not going to happen. Okay. So and you also have to remember that every state that conducts its election outside of election season is because the judiciary took a stand.
Yes.
And removed. So whether it's Osun,
Anambra.
Ondo, Anambra, Imo, all these states.
No, I do, but you're right, and I hope.
The most important thing you can do, a couple of things. One, as a person, you have determined that you are going all the way. You are not going to take any bribes. You are not going to sell your people out for any appointment or any money. You have made that decision. Then you find lawyers that are equally as committed to you. Yes. Because another thing they try to do is they try to, what's the word for it? They try to not manipulate. They try to get in line with your lawyer and trying to get them to
procedural errors.
Try and get them to throw the case.
Yes.
Right. So there's that as well. So you have to have committed lawyers. Committed lawyers. It's not cheap.
Yes.
It's not cheap at all. But when you have determined that you are going all the way, you must know that that's a sacrifice you are going to have to make, and you do that. And then also just prayer. Leave it, at that point, you leave it in the hands of God. Okay. But you must make sure you have all your data, you have all your evidence, you've collected all your information. Whatever money that needs to be paid to get your data, you pay it and you get it.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. It's not a cheap process.
No,
But when people have died because they said we're coming out to vote for you, right? You cannot put money to those lives.
You owe it,
you owe it to them to fight for that mandate in the most legal way that you can.
Yes. No, I do agree with that. But keeping that aside, looking back now, we've had enough time to take a step back from all the noise, all the confusion, all the tribal politics, all the brouhaha, surrounding this election, right? It was so much of you being in the firestorm that was the attacks coming towards you, right? Looking back now, is there anything you believe you would have done differently? Do you believe that maybe if I had prepared more, because as a politician, which you are, you're a smart guy, you're young, you should have known that APC would have done this. It's not the first time,
exactly?
The violence, the tribal politics. So it's not the first time they've employed this tactic. So do you think that maybe you missed it? You guys, the LP did not put that into cognizance that, okay, because this is how for me, this is how we do it, right? And with my team, we're in our war room talking about how we're going to win this election. I'm going to ask my team, tell me how you, the opposition, will win the election. How will APC win in Lagos State? Let us look back at the history of Lagos politics. What tactic have they employed?
So this is the thing. You see, while you might say yes, this is standard what they do, APC has never been as desperate as they were in this election ever in Lagos State.
That's true.
I think you might say, okay, with the whole Funshaw Williams situation and the murdered Funshaw Williams and all of that, but Peter Obi winning in Lagos, and they know the real result. They know the level of desperation that they got to. Nobody could have seen it coming. Even if someone tell you they saw it coming, they could not have anticipated the level of desperation.
How far
they imported dogs into Lagos State.
Wow.
There were Polians that had 20, 30 of these boys.
Wow.
Right? There were local governments wards that did not have any election. Ballers came out and were snatching ballot boxes. As far as I know, there's not been a time where in my recent history that they did Oro Festival during the day, on the day of an election. That shows the level of desperation.
Yes.
So, okay, your team members have called you and told you this is how they will win. Do you think they would have told you that the Oba will do Oro on Saturday, on Thursday, Friday, into Saturday?
Yeah.
How you now fight that psychological warfare?
Yeah, it's true.
Now, violence happens, but you see, violence has always been localized. Like, so you see violence in somewhere like Oshodi Solo. You see some violence in somewhere like Ajeromi Feludu. But this violence this time was all over the place. All over. Yeah, you might see some violence in Shomolu, but this was just all over.
Yeah.
Now, the things I could have done different, I think that as a politician, I should have been aware that it's not just about what I say and what I mean. I must also constantly be thinking about the potential for people to twist it.
Yes.
Now, I made a statement that if I could go back, I will not make that statement. I said, I think it was a Channel's interview. I said, I don't think in Yoruba. Now, when you look at it, just by what I said, you can twist it to mean thinking in Yoruba is bad. Or people that think in Yoruba I'm better than them. Or they are low level. Or something negative. Well, I was just speaking about how the mind works.
Yes.
You see, as I'm talking to you now, my thoughts are being processed in English.
Yes.
That it comes to me easy. If I grew up in a home where the first language was Yoruba, my thoughts will process in Yoruba and then translate in English.
Yes.
Some people have dreams. I'm not sure what language you dream in.
English.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are some people that have dreams in Igbo,
Yes,
in
true.
Yoruba. Like, if they wake up, the words that were being said or whatever is communicated to them was communicated in a language.
Yes.
That's all I was trying to communicate.
Yes.
I was trying to communicate that because I think in English, when I'm communicating, it's easier to just communicate and be very thorough. Now, if I could think in Yoruba, it would be easier for me to communicate in Yoruba. That's all I was saying.
Yes.
But they took that and twisted it to say, like, I'm looking down on Yoruba. I'm looking down on Yoruba culture. I don't think in Yoruba, so the Yoruba people are less than, which is completely stupid, right? But it was stupid of me not to understand that people are constantly going to be looking for ways to misinterpret and twist your words. Of
course.
Right? I mean, I just give you an example of a whole thread that somebody did, because these were at different points. The whole Yoruba nation crisis and thing was a different point from when IPOB first started and were calling Biafra Day and insisting that, if you're not going to have them as a functional part of Nigeria, then let them go, right? Different points, but they highlighted one, they left the other. So I think that as a politician, you have to be very conscious, especially when you are dealing with people that are very good at propaganda.
Yes.
You see, if this was an election with me and let's say, I want to believe, me and let's say the ADC candidate, Funsho Duarte, and some other people, it would just have been issue-based.
Yes.
Okay, this is your idea for housing, this is my idea for housing, this is your idea for business. And there were points where he might have stronger points than me, there are points where I have stronger points than him. And overall, people will now decide based on substance, issue-based issues, and whoever they feel will be the best person that they resonate with.
Yeah.
It will not be, I don't imagine a Duarte's camp will be sitting down trying to twist, he said this and they literally put a picture. I'm not sure if you followed the stories. They said that my father was never married to my mother.
I followed it,
that I grew up in, I don't know, any Guana, but I'm an
your parents had to come out and make a statement.
That I'm an IPOB warlord.
I followed it closely.
They put pictures of me and so when you are dealing with people like that, because really it's evil. It's evil. It's evil to knowingly know something and then deceive. It's deceit. There's no other way to paint it. It's deceit, right? And to do that, so when you know you are dealing with those type of people, you must be very guarded about how you say it, how you say things, how you express things, so that people don't take out. Because there are a lot of people that unfortunately do not take time out to go and do their own research.
Most Nigerians don't.
They are just spoon-fed, and they just believe. A WhatsApp story will come that this young man he's only contesting so that he will punish his Yoruba father. They just believe it.
Forward it many times.
And they'll forward it, they just believe it. Right? So this is where education comes in. Education of being able to think. That because you like something and they say it does not mean that you have to believe. That's what education is about.
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking. Exactly. Critical analysis. That's what education is not knowing 1 + 1 is 2. It's part of it. It's part of it. But the ability to think.
Why did 1 + 1 become 2? Or why does 1 + 1
critical thinking. Like, okay, they are saying that this boy is this, that, but how come he's this, that? Just like somebody said that they understand why Gbadebo is very pro Biafra Igbo because his great-great-grandfather was Igbo. Okay. So that great-great-father was Igbo, but his grandchildren were Akiwumi and Bankole. And so in my mind, I actually I saw that, and I think someone reported, whether my media team responded to it, I was like, he said, so in your mind, this thing you have said makes sense. That because a last name is coming down, right? And because of how Nigeria is set up, you are from where your father is from.
Yes, of course,
So those names, as they're coming down, they're always going to be Yoruba.
Yes.
there was no point where the first thing became something else. So what are you saying? So
Yeah.
it's
But
just what it is.
the thing is your enemy, your opponents, they're willing to go as with your opponents, with the APC and with the political elite in Nigeria, there are no boundaries. There are no moral boundaries. There is nothing like, oh, this is good. Okay, this is not good.
Yes.
Do it.
I completely agree with you.
So my question to you is, knowing this now, how far are you willing to go? Because the thing about politics is, and David talks about Machiavellian politics, we talked about it on the podcast I had with him, that obedience, in his opinion, have to be willing to go to those places that I would say some are scared to go to. But the enemy has already gone there already. The enemy is okay with it. The enemy is okay with Machiavellian. The enemy is okay with people dying, blood being spilled.
Yeah, of course.
People being killed, people being harmed. No, they don't care. All they care about is victory.
So
how far you?
My answer to that is twofold. One, there's a time and season in the affairs of men, and no army, no matter what size, can stop an idea whose time has come.
Yes.
No matter how they try, somehow, some way, you see it manifest. Somehow, some way. That's on one side. Two, there's a judiciary. That's why their role is so important. Their role is so important because, you see, if I slap you, you slap me back. If I slap you again, one of your eyes gets spoiled. You come and slap me. I mean, you slap my son out of anger. 2 eyes are spoiled. I'm now angry. Me and my cousin will come to you, slap you, slap your wife, slap your sister. You just back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. That's why there's judiciary. Yes. So I slap you, you're angry with me. Go and report me. They give a judgment. It is civilized. Now, if the judiciary does not live up to that responsibility or that expectation, and allows for an injustice to become normalized, they are setting up a precedent that power will only be taken by violence. By force. So that means that any serious competitor coming to contest again must be marshalling an army.
Exactly.
At least 1.5 times what they saw in the previous election. That is now the precedent. That is the fact of the matter.
Yes.
Because nobody can experience what we just experienced and say that, I'm going to prepare for a campaign and I'm going to focus on what Lagos needs, my manifesto, my skill, my capacity, my love for Lagos. All that is rubbish. Because guess what? You had a governor that did not attend any debate. I attended 5. Not attend 1.
The impunity.
You had a governor that was pretty much following his presidential candidate all around Nigeria until they lost. And with the margin, and they did a lot because they could have still won that thing, because that margin, the amount of votes that they took out with INEC being complicit in it, they could have gotten, I don't know, maybe they just felt that we've taken almost 400,000 votes out of these people's votes, so let's just leave 10,000. It's too much. But you see that they've set up this precedent in their desperation. They're importing thugs because they don't have enough in Lagos to have that spread. So they're not going to be thinking, the people came out, were beating them. So it's not about money again. It's not about money. It's not about buying votes. Yes, there's some peaceful places where they brought out a lot of money and bought people over. But the majority of it was just, and also, if you're in your house, you want to come out to vote, you're hearing they're beating somebody, you stay in your house now.
You stay back,
So all of these things now reduce people's participation. So it's now determined completely by violence. So if the judiciary does not put us on a path that's corrected, then I'm not even thinking of myself. I'm just saying any serious politician in 4 years' time would have no business going to an election if they not marshaled some kind of quasi-army to not just resist but also attack.
Yeah, it's a pity, and that's why I hope the judiciary, I hope they do their jobs, very properly, because this is, if they don't, you're looking at anarchy.
Yes,
you're looking,
and that's why there is a judiciary.
Yeah,
it's a civil process so that you take out anarchy.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And you see, people say they want peace, but you cannot have the peace of a graveyard if you don't kill the people. You cannot expect people to be alive. You have beat them. You won't tell them how they'll be crying.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can't.
So it's an adage in our local tongue that when you beat a child, you don't tell a child how to cry.
Yeah.
So,
you can't. You can't say you want peace, you want healing, and they say injustice. I say people died.
Yes.
I've seen people, grown men. I visited the man. He could not walk. He was crying like a baby in front of his daughter. So what is that man going to tell his child? It's two things. Either they become extremely angry, or they just give up and lose complete hope, and they're not going to participate in anything politics again, which completely defeats the entire purpose and kills our democracy.
And I think that's what the elites want.
That's what they want.
Yeah, they brought Nigeria to that level. And
yes.
Where you're like, what's the point?
Yes.
What's the point of even coming out to
exactly.
vote? What's the point of all of this?
Exactly.
If I come out to vote, you guys will win the election. If I come out to vote, you guys will
and
bring out the police,
when you think about it, it is genius.
Yeah, it is.
Because that way they can continue looting, stealing for themselves, their family. They know that when you have the power to vote, you cannot
nothing will happen.
They will conduct an election.
Yeah.
So Europe, America, all of them will say they are democratic.
Yeah.
So they will not invade or put mouths. They will congratulate the winner of the thing. All of you are going to sit down in your house and continue suffering, or you will then jackpot everybody. But how many will the whole of Nigeria leave Nigeria and come to England? A point to come where Donald Trump has already said it. I'm sure you've read the news. Trump said once he gets in, he's making sure that Nigerians can no longer come into America. I'm hearing here as well that they are taking away, they are changing laws for British.
January 1st,
they are going to change the laws.
Other people cannot bring their masters for their
independence. Then you are going to now start seeing Canada and Ireland. They will still. So, and then when you now run to Russia, eventually, all of these people are going to say, is enough. Yes. Go home and sort out your problems.
Exactly. And I hope we get to that point. But how do we solve this? Because for me, this is something that keeps me up at night. I think about this. This is why I talk about this I want to keep talking about this Nigerian politics, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, how do we solve this puzzle called Nigeria? One way I think that we can do it is by what you're doing. Micro level politics, right?
Yeah.
You're going to the niche, that place where the shoe bites.
Yeah. And
you're trying to, let me solve for Lagosians. Not for people from Ogun State, not for the whole of Nigeria, this macro level, but let me solve at the micro level. And I think that's important, but people always overlook it and are like, no, presidency. And I'm like, no. Tinubu was able to win because he won at the states.
Yes.
At the polling units, at the local governments. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to change Nigeria, you also have to ask yourself or look at, how can I secure those polling units, those local governments, those states, such that Tinubu cannot win in Rivers.
Yeah.
He cannot go and win in Lagos. He cannot go and win it because, why? Because I've elected credible people of integrity, people that love Nigeria, people that love transparency into those positions of power. And then when they are there, they're not going to sit back and allow you to rig election. Mm-hmm. They're not going to sit back and allow you to bring violence. They're not going to sit back and allow you to kill and just get away with it. It's not possible. So, apart from what you're doing, what can young people, Nigerians,
I think the most that the young people can do now is to not lose hope. Don't lose hope. That's what they want. They want us to be quiet. They want us to stop tweeting. They want us to stop engaging government policies. They don't want this to be happening. Like, Gbadebo, go and get a job. Gbadebo, go back to work. When I tweet, they say, Gbadebo, you have become a blogger. It's all good.
Yeah.
Everything that you want me to, because that's what they are used to. Yes. They are used to, by now, the candidates would have collected one money from Sanwo-Olu. The candidates will now congratulate Sanwo-Olu. And the candidates will now go quiet for 3 years. Then he will now come back. We might have a case in court, but we won't really take it seriously. Not really funding it. You not go all the way. Don't build a solid case. 9 months down the line, he's done business, he's made money. Yes. But that's not what's going to happen. we need to continue to be engaged. Then now, I'll speak for Lagos State. Like you said, micro level. We now need to galvanize ourselves into a political party. You see, this idea of, oh, I'm a support group, I don't want party, I don't this, it really limits the capacity and strength, right? It's literally like, it's like if you have a pump pushing out with all its force from 1 point, compared to if it was pushing out from 3 points. The force from 1 point will be far stronger.
Yes.
Right? So when we galvanize ourselves into one body, right, the effect will be so much more. And that's what we need to do. You know, I found a lot of obedience said that they're just here for Peter Obi, they're not here for Labour Party, they're just here for this. We now need to come together. We need to join political parties. We need to keep being engaged. Let's not get distracted. That's what they need. That's what they count on. Because in all of this, we're now creating a new type of politician. We're creating a new type of consciousness. We're creating a new type of thinking. So that is the most important thing for me.
Do you think LP is the party for that? Because let me come from Anambra State, for example. What we saw in the last election was, I would say, people that we shouldn't be seeing in LP, we began seeing them in LP. People that used to be in other parties and they've done bad things as well. They are corrupt people. I don't want to name names, but in Anambra, we know them in Anambra State.
Yeah.
We know one of them is very popular.
Yes.
Right? So is LP the party that can be that can galvanize the young people of Nigeria to take away APC and PDP and become not just an opposition party, but one day, in the not too distant future, become a ruling party in Nigeria?
I believe so.
LP?
Yes. I believe, see, there's no party that's perfect.
Okay.
It's about the people that are in that party. It's also about the people that have taken an interest in an election. When I was contesting against a man that has been in politics for a very long time. He's in his early 70s or mid 70s. He's been a House of Rep member.
You mean Sanwo-Olu?
No. The person I contested my primary against.
Okay.
I don't want to say his name.
Okay.
And he's been around. He's been chairman of PDP Lagos. Was in the APC, all of that. And he's quite, at that age, you can imagine he has a lot of resources, he has a lot of networks, all of that. But people came out en masse and were pushing my candidacy on social media. They were like, is this guy, this is the person we want, this person. Put a lot of pressure. And then we had a primary, and by God's grace, I emerged victorious. Right? Now, that would not have happened if we not have this many obedience coming and say, this is the person we want, this person we're going to stand behind. This is what we want for Lagos, right? So there is that power that we have. We need to galvanize it and channel it. You see, and it will work in Lagos because I would say Lagos really is the base for the obedient movement. Places like Anambra, the politics are different. Politics are very different there. So maybe the typical obedient as a young man that might not have the kind of resources that a typical politician in Anambra will have might not be able to get that seat because there's an idea of, okay, this is how we get seats in politics. Yes. What they try to do in Lagos State, but at the end of the day, the idea of this is the type of person that we want trumped the idea of he has money, so let him run for it. Right? So it's for the people to galvanize themselves together and make that idea the new normal.
Yes.
In whatever state. Right? And I think that LP, and also by God's grace, Peter Obi is going to get his mandate. By God's grace, I'm going to get my mandate. Alex Oti seems like a fantastic guy. Let's see what he's able to do in Abia State. And then when you start to have political leaders that you can look up to and respect, and they start to set the pathway of what a politician is or what a politician should be, we then get into a much more positive place. You see, when you look at the politicians of the Awolowos, the Nnamdi Azikiwes, Henry Cars, these were men of ideology. These were thinking men. These were men that were not men of easy value, that are just going around carrying girls and just spending money. And these were men that devoted themselves to thinking about how they can make the lives of their people better. They literally spent so much time thinking about it that they wrote several books on it. You know, for you to write a book, I'm not talking about these ones now that they just employ someone to write the book for them. You're going to pull that write books. You are a thinking person. You are devoting a lot of time to that. Yes. But then after some time, it was now uncool to be that thinking politician. He now became the guy that had the agri-roast, the guy that could dance, that could share the money. But then he's sharing all this, but your life is going down and down and down. As he does, your life is getting worse and worse and worse. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but all of it is, our leadership is reflecting the people that are taking politics seriously.
Yes.
And even my emergence is reflecting the people that are taking politics seriously.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So that's what we need to take politics seriously. Yeah. It's a game of interest. If you want leaders that are thinking, that are constantly trying to be creative about how to make your lives better, versus the ones that are just, oh, now my guy, we can say the same thing together in the same language, and we vibe.
Yeah.
That vibe has not made your life better, Sha. Except you are eating up there with them. But how many of them are really up there? And for how long?
Yeah.
Right? There's so many people that are constituting that their lives are so bad, but they are the frontline men for these people. And you look at their lives. I mean, if they died today, their wives will probably just end up in penury.
I see people that follow politicians. That's one of the most foolish things you will ever do. Following politicians around. Not people like yourself, but I mean people, these old guards, the current elites. If you're following them as a young man, you're just wasting your life.
Well, it depends.
In my own opinion.
No. But I won't agree with that, because you see a lot of these young men, the reason why they follow them is because they have direct benefit.
Yeah, but there is also a problem in the sense that, as this is just my own opinion, right?
Yeah.
Personally, what I always tell myself and I tell my friends is, as young people, our job is to develop ourselves.
Yes.
Our job is to educate ourselves, whether it's by reading, by doing podcasts, whether it's by anything you're doing, just apply yourself, right?
Yes.
You cannot afford to commit your life. This young phase, your formative years, these years where you can hustle and become something, and just give it to a politician and just be carrying his bag around and you're bragging, oh, you're this guy's boy, you're this guy's...
Someone used to carry Remi Tinubu's bag around now. Today he's governor.
What is that? Is that the right? Is that what we want from this new generation of leaders? That's not what we want. I don't mean you shouldn't serve. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But by all means, serve.
No, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
But I believe that we need to have courageous young people,
of course,
that have the capacity to stand up to powers that be and say what you are doing is wrong.
Exactly.
Right? I feel that there are a lot of young people, and this is another topic to actually think about, because on retrospect, you see that there was a lot of envy in this our generation. And it was, I see that envy was a reflection of their insecurity. Because they like what I was doing, but they hate the idea that I had the balls to do it. So it was now like, who is this guy, Seth?
Wow.
Who's this guy? So there's so many things I heard. You hear people that you look at and you see them, you respect them, you shake them, and then when you hear the kind of things that they were saying, and then you realize it's just, some people just, when in seeing you do something, it reminds them of what they don't have the heart to do.
Yes.
And to manage that feeling, they have to bring you down.
Yes.
Right? So like what I'm just trying to say in a nutshell is, all types of people have their own journey, their own capacity. Because it's not just money. People say, oh, you can be rich, but you don't have the nerve to actually come out and speak your truth because you're scared. Right? Not that there isn't... everybody has something to be scared of. Right? But what I'm just trying to say is everybody has their journey.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Everybody has their journey.
I do.
But I believe that if you want to be, if you're about service, right, then you also have to know, are you in this for yourself or are you in this for the people?
Exactly.
Now, if a young man wants to just be in government for the sake of government, he wants to be hanging out with the big boys, he wants to run, skinny, have this thing, that song.
Exactly,
And he can run and be carrying their bags up and down the place, right?
Yeah.
But you see, for me, the reason why I cannot join the ruling party is because I'm in politics to make a difference.
Yes.
I'm in politics to be able to implement policies that will make the lives of people better. And I know that I cannot achieve that with the APC.
Yeah.
So from day one, I started in KOWA Party, PDP, LP. You will never hear that Gbadebo went to APC to even just put his toe in the water and he did not like it and he came out.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've already determined the reason why I'm in this is because I want to be able to achieve this for my people. And if I cannot achieve this for my people, then it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many opportunities that I have in this life. God has blessed me with that, right? I'll be fine. I don't need politics drains me, right? So I don't. So if I cannot do it right, then there's no point in it at all.
But why PDP though? Because in my opinion, PDP and APC, they're uniparty. I don't think there's anything that separates PDP and APC, if I'm being honest.
Well, you know, you have to be you have to look at it. You know, all politics is local.
Yes.
PDP Lagos had never ruled Lagos. The closest he came was Funshaw Williams, and you know what happened to him. So it's peculiar in that regard. So everything that I do not like about how Lagos is being run is that it stops at the table of the APC. And the PDP had consistently stood against them.
Yes.
So when you ask why PDP, that would be the answer.
So you mentioned Peter Obi and obedience, right? What do you think of Peter Obi?
He's a fantastic guy, fantastic man. I've had time to sit down with him and talk over several times, you know, and he's truly something. He's truly something. You know, he has a gentle voice, but the mental strength that man has, I don't think any politician has it today. The courage. You see, courage is not just about facing somebody. Courage is in your set of beliefs. When somebody says we know they give shishi and puts that out there, that takes courage. Because any politician you go and sit down and talk to, you know they use shishi. What kind of nonsense is that? This one is not a serious politician. This one is not ready.
Yeah.
And he experienced that in the PDP. He could have gone and kept quiet in his house. But he didn't.
Yeah.
He said he's going to run.
Yeah.
That takes courage.
Yeah.
He joined Labour Party. Literally set it on fire.
Yeah. In 9 months or 8 months or so.
Yes. He literally redefined our politics. Our politics cannot be the same again.
I agree, yeah.
No, it cannot be the same again. This is not about, it cannot be the same again.
Yeah.
Peter Obi has redefined our politics. Now, it is cool again to be intelligent and be a politician. It is cool to know about ideas and policy and push ideas and policy. I mean, what all these other people come and say? I mean, Atiku, to an extent, he was pushing out some ideas and policy. But what was the president-elect? What was he? What was he pushing out? What was he saying? What can we hold to that he said he's going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing. And that's the politics that they are used to. That's the normal part. They come on the stage, they insult all their opponents, they sing a song, they crack a joke, they wave a broom, or they wave an umbrella, and they go home. Peter Obi came and redefined that. Even when he started doing his yabis, it was still less than 10% of the content of what he was saying. And also, he made it okay to, you know, to lift conversations, take conversations higher. So you insult him and he'll still elevate that conversation. That takes a lot of strength, mental and emotional strength. Because someone has insulted you, it's paining you, can respond. You can give them back, you can clap back, but instead, you elevate it. It's not easy.
I mean, I don't want to beat this horse because I believe the horse. I've beat this horse so many times when it comes to Obi. There's so many things I agree with Peter Obi.
Yeah,
I agree with you. He's redefined Nigerian politics.
Yes.
He's broken the dam in the sense that people are realizing that we can actually do it.
Yes.
It seemed impossible before. It seemed as if it could never be done.
Yes.
But believe you me, if we stay on this course, if someone like Peter Obi can do it, if someone can, that means it's doable.
Exactly.
We came close,
exactly.
And who knows what may happen, but we did come close. But for me, I always say to them, two things can be true at the same time. It can be true that Peter Obi has redefined Nigerian politics. However, it can also be true that when we look back at Peter Obi's history or Peter Obi's past, more so as governor of Anambra State, there are numerous things that you can judge or call out. And obedience would say you, why should you do that? He's running against Atiku and Tinubu. Why are you judging him? These two people are already evil. Don't you? I'm like, no. Peter Obi, out of the three popular candidates, if I was voting, I would have voted for Peter Obi. Out of the three popular candidates, then obviously if you enlarge that bracket and put in Showore, because he's my friend, of course, I would always choose Showore because he's a new guy on the block. He's not been tested. He's just like yourself. Never held a political position. So Showore for me would be ideal. Right? But I always tell them that you can only judge politicians based on their actions.
Okay.
Anybody can speak something nice. Anybody can speak good sense. I love my wife, but I cheat on my wife. I don't really love my wife then.
Okay.
I might tell her I love her, but my actions by cheating on her are not coordinating with what I tell her. I can say that I'm gonna do this or do that as a politician, but when I look at the actions, they are not going on and on. So I always tell them this, right? And I think this is what the elite they've done to our country. They've made it difficult for us, like we were saying, to think critically. And to accept that these two prisms can be true. We cannot accept that Peter Obi was the best candidate out of the three popular ones. But look back at Anambra State. Did he transform Anambra State? No. By saving money in Fidelity Bank, was that the right thing to do? That was a conflict of interest. He owns Fidelity Bank, or he was the CEO. By saving money in your bank that you own.
No, that was not the only bank he saved money.
But I mean, there are so many other banks you should have saved.
He saved in three
money.
banks, according to him.
According to him, but you get my point, right? I know you might not be able to say that yourself, but I can.
No. I hear you. I hear you. But let me come in here. I think that there are some basic things that you can verify. I think he did amazingly. When you look at education, right? The fact that Anambra, education-wise, was at a point, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't live in Anambra as opposed to what these people have said. So I don't know Anambra.
I'll correct you when you're done. When you're done, I'll correct you. Yes,
So what I heard from what I've read, Anambra was at a certain point on the ranking in terms of education. It took it to number 1, right? In terms of the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, he achieved those things and was awarded by the World Bank. I also know that Bill Amendagis funded him based on that. He's the only governor that they looked at and said, this person is performing, and they gave him that thing. And to meet Sustainable Development Goals is a number of things that you have to take, right? So that is a positive thing globally. And then when you talk about investors, I know that there was a pharmaceutical company that was built, right, in Anambra. I don't know whether it was GlaxoSmithKline.
I don't know. That's Emzo. That's Emzo. I don't know.
This was not a local company. This was an international company.
Okay, I've got no idea.
Anyway, the story goes that they visited several states. The first state that they went to, they waited for 5 hours to see the governor. Second state they went to, governor could not come himself. They waited, and then eventually sent somebody to come and see them. They had already given up. They were going to leave.
Yeah.
But they said, let us go to Anambra. Peter Obi was waiting for them at the terminal. He welcomed them. And for me, that desire to work and create opportunities and values, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yes, he might not be perfect. There's no human being that is. But I also feel that, you see, that connection human beings have with him. Because I've been with this man when we went to Lord's Chosen. I've been with him when we've gone to places. There's a deep connection human beings have with him.
He's got charisma.
No, I won't say it's charisma.
It's still the same thing. Charisma is still that affection, you know. That's many politicians don't have it in Nigeria.
No. Okay. You see, there's a man. What's his name? There was a tall man. He comes from, I think it was governor of Gongola or Kano at a point. Very handsome man, tall, light-skinned man. He said when that man will come out to campaign, the women will go crazy in the north. Very, very handsome man. His voice was baritone. You know, when you describe him as charismatic.
Yeah.
It was about his look. It was about his voice. It was his fine boyishness. It was about that.
Yeah.
But Obi's thing is not that. He's a handsome man, yes, but it's not.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a deeper thing.
Yeah.
It's almost spiritual.
Yeah.
It is almost spiritual, my brother. That is the truth. I've been around with this man and I've seen people connect with him. It is almost spiritual.
You can't describe it.
You can't describe it. You can't say it's like an anointing. You can't say that it's because of no. I'll remember that man's name hopefully before we leave. But so I'm sure that there are flaws, right? There are flaws. Suldo has said certain things, you know. But I believe that he left Anambra better than he met it.
Yeah, on that we agree. But just to wrap up on this topic, you know, it depends on what you define as amazing. Amazing to you could be different from what amazing to you could be. Like we established in earlier world-class standards, and that is what I judge. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
People always tell me that no, but you're wrong. Don't compare Anambra to UK. Don't compare Anambra. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I will always compare.
Yeah.
I want my governor to build me world-class roads.
Yes.
I want him to build me world-class hospitals. I don't want him to build me Amako. Can I send my parents Amako? No, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't send him to Amako. I know I've been to Amako. Amako is nonsense. Amako is rubbish. I'm sorry.
What's Amako? I don't know.
It's a general hospital in Anambra State. Amako General Hospital.
Okay.
I'm sure there are good doctors there. I'm sure there are good nurses there. But I'm sorry, you and I could not go there for medical treatment. Like we said earlier, there are few places you could go to. Look at the library he built. Can I go there to read? No, I can't go there to read. I'm sorry. I've seen Qatar National Library. I've seen other libraries in the world. And I always compare them to whatever. So and the reason why I do that is that I know you have the money to do it. You said you saved $500 million. I told my friend when I saw him say that, I was like, if this man really saved $500 million, I'm sorry. You can't say that. You saved the money, and guess what happened when you left? The person that came in squandered everything.
Well, they said that he used it to build airport.
Bro, do you know that airport? Do you know what's in that airport? 2 luggage, what do they call them? Baggage belts.
Yeah.
I was there last year November or October or September. It's a building, a warehouse, just a building and 2 baggage. That's the airport.
No, but you know that the main thing that chops the money for airports is that control tower. Not the building of it, but the system.
Do you know how much I don't know how much that airport was built for, the costs. But that airport, I'm sorry, cannot be what you use $500 million to build. That airport is anybody can build. That's my point is that you can define amazing as different things. Yeah, amazing could mean this, amazing could mean that. You know, so but the point I'm trying to make is with this Obi thing is that the two things can be true. Yes. And I agree with you. Did he meet Anambra better than he did he leave Anambra better than he met it? Of course he did.
Yes.
But should that be the standard by which we judge our leaders? I'm sorry, I don't agree. The standard should be, like we said earlier, world-class standards. But let me go back to what you said about, you mentioned Funsho Williams. Who do you think killed him? And then linking it to Tinubu, what do you think about the present, I know you call him President-elect, but what do you think about Tinubu?
Funshaw Williams, obviously, the court is out on who killed him and everything. But there's an idea, but most people speculate that the main beneficiaries of his death were what we now call the APC. It's a very sad situation because he was a beloved son of Lagos, you know, beloved son of Lagos, and he really epitomized the idea of a gentleman politician that was about values, was about, you know, legacy, impact, you know. So, thank you. So there's that. What I think about Tinubu, I don't really want to make any comments about him, honestly. You have a situation where we have a president that there's so much controversy about him, from what is his name, just as basic as that, what is his name? At least Mount, they said his name is this. They don't say my name was former and I took on the identity of...
Yeah.
And like I tell people, I have a birth certificate, all my names are there from birth. You know, from that to the whole controversy about drug dealing. So that one was even easier to manage because it seemed like something that was done in the past. To recent revelations that is an ongoing, continuous thing. To what they've done with Lagos State and its resources, to Alpha Beta.
Describe that for me. Describe that for someone that doesn't know anything about. Describe that patrimonial structure that Tinubu has built.
Well, first of all, there is a situation where almost 15 to 20% of the monies that the state generates is paid to a company that's not really doing much. LIRS is the one that's doing most of that work. And this is just Alpha, Beta, and taxes. When you look at any revenue generating organization in Lagos State, you see that there's a line item for a consultant. That consultant is going all the way back to these people. You have a situation where councillors, local government chairmen are pushing kickbacks up, right? So it's almost like a mafia system. In fact, it's not almost like, it is a mafia system, right? And a lot of people that they just, you know, they put small food in their mouth, they are quiet, they can't talk.
Yeah.
Then you also have a situation where there's just so much corruption, no transparency, no accountability. That is why it takes so many years to do 13 kilometers of rail. And then they bring a whole bride to come and commission something that's still not working. Why commissioning something that's not working? Well, because it makes you think about something. If this train system, they finally make it work, what are they going to do different in the commissioning? Are you put so much energy commissioning something that's not working? Do you really have any intention to make this thing work? Right? It's like if I'm building a house and I've done one room in the house and I bring the owner to come and commission it. Okay, so what would the owner do when I've built the whole house? To come and commission it again. So it begs the question, do these people have any intention of ever finishing this project? Do they have any intention of this thing working?
Yeah.
And it has led to several conspiracies because people are now saying that if the trains are working, the aggro's money will reduce. That's one of the reasons why they're not doing the train.
That's true.
And at this point, when you start looking at this thing, you're like, anything can be possible because the way these people think, you know, the bureaucracy. So yeah.
So what? Okay. How about Sanwo-Olu?
I mean, I think the lowest point for me in my observation of Sanwo-Olu was they recorded him when he was walking to vote, and there were some thugs and area boys next to him, and were threatening people that come out to vote against him. And as the governor of the state, the chief operating officer of the state, he was smiling. It just shows you. It shows you the lack of empathy. And it speaks volumes about the kind of person he is. Even if something is in your interest, the moment you come and start saying that kind of thing, you tell him keep quiet.
Yeah.
You tell him keep quiet because you are worried about your own image as the chief security officer of the state. But you only be worried if you had empathy.
Yes.
If you don't have empathy, you don't care. Right? And I mean, Sanwo-Olu himself is also handicapped because the APC is a machine. It's this beast that they've grown to just consume the resources of the state. So no matter, I mean, look at what happened to Ambode. If you really look at all these governors, you have to give it to Ambode. He was one of the best performing governors.
Really?
Yeah. Tinubu did nothing as governor, apart from increasing the amount of money that is collected. He did not create new value. All the embassies, the businesses, the oil companies, their headquarters, they were already there in Lagos. He created a means of collecting. Now, when you see that he collected, you see that maybe the revenue generated increased by like 300, 400%. But you see that since then, it's not increasing. It's like marginal, maybe 15, 20% or something. The government is supposed to create an enabling environment for prosperity to grow. Right? And that's not what's happening. So I mean, and then you look at Ambode, the things that he did that showed that he had big ideas. Like even just Visionscape, the idea of really bringing in recycling, the idea of the transparency in the waste management system, financing it, and making something that truly generates revenue, not just a patronage system that rewards the political cronies. Right? And look at how they treated him.
Why did Tinubu kick him out? Why?
Well, because he was not playing the game as his lord and master wanted him to. And these are the reasons why, if you're a free thinker, you have no business being in the APC.
Why didn't Ambode even push back? Ambode, it's like, because this was a shocking scene. This was what shocks me, right? You're the governor of a state. I understand that your godfather is this titan that holds Lagos State by his hands, that you must bend to him. But at some point, there should be a percentage of you that says, let me just push back a little bit. Let me just...
He pushed back a little bit now. When he gave that press conference against Sanwo-Olu, now it's him pushing back.
Yeah, but I was expecting...
Okay, so this is what I think. You see, we talked about intelligence earlier on, and I said it's about the way you apply it.
Yes.
See, Tinubu's intelligence is to ensure that a politician never becomes governor of Lagos.
Okay.
So, Fashola was this essay, never really built political structure, never really contested. You see, in contesting, you build your capacity to take risk.
Wow.
You build your capacity to put everything on the table and say, fuck it.
Yes.
You build a capacity to say, I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you. I'm not afraid. Now, politicians build that over a period of time. Tinubu himself built it.
Yes.
He started as an activist, quasi-activist with Nadeco, then he ran for Senate. So this is a person that has been taking risk, right? Then he ran for governor, he became governor. Now, people that can take risk, like look at what happened to Shomole and Obaseki. Obaseki has been involved in politics for time.
Yes.
He was on the stage to Shomole when Shomole became governor, right? He's also an entrepreneur. So he has an appetite for risk. So you saw that when they pushed him out everything, he had the appetite to go to PDP and stand up. Now, you look on the APC side, you will never see Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour, Tinubu allow Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour to be governor of Lagos. Because as soon as he does that, Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour has his own structure. And that structure will start to build.
Okay.
And as soon as that starts to happen, Tinubu dynasty is done.
Wow.
Tinubu will never allow an Obanikoro to be governor of Lagos.
True.
Instead, those strong politicians, they'll push them to Abuja.
True.
It's like, the Roman generals, like Caesar. Caesar would have all his generals stationed outside Rome.
God.
You cannot come into Rome with your army. You understand? So that is the brilliance.
Wow.
That's the brilliance of it. But see why is the problem? You then have a situation where you have politicians and governors that cannot think for themselves.
Yes, independent,
They're not independent thinkers. And even if they're independent thinkers by themselves, they must always toe
the line.
And then you then have an entire system around them that are all yes men. You have an entire political structure around them that are all yes men. So that's why you see this mediocrity will carry on. And they all clap for themselves, they all praise themselves. Everything is good, you're wonderful, you're the best things in sliced bread. But the people of Lagos continue to suffer.
Yeah.
But if you have leaders that are free thinking, they will try new things. They will try and push the envelope.
Yes.
They will take risk.
Yes.
Right? I mean, the entire concept of Dubai was a risk.
Yes.
These guys made you to want to visit the desert and go and play in sand and sun. Sand that we run away from and sun that we run away from Nigeria. They took that risk. When they were building the ports, that then allowed it to become a major trade route, the demand for it was not there.
Yes.
They built it.
Yeah.
Right? They took that risk because they saw the future. That is what quality leadership is about.
Yeah.
But if somebody is just positioning himself to say, okay, you are going to be here as my surrogate as governor. You are the director, I'm the governor in charge, and I'm here because I want to make sure that everything that I do is kept under wraps, and I'm collecting all this money from Lagos. You cannot do both. You cannot aim for development of your people and at the same time aim for your own personal enrichment.
Yeah. You mentioned, just briefly, Yoruba Nation and Biafra. What do you think of these movements?
I believe that...
Or this idea, sorry.
I believe that the initial idea of it is a good idea. The idea that you speak truth to power. Your people are being killed. You have to stand up. You don't just take it. I mean, that's the whole idea of independence.
Yeah.
Right? We say that we are one nation. Everybody should have a seat on the table.
Yeah.
Everybody should be treated fairly. Right? It does not make sense that you're coming into Iseyin or parts of Oyo, you're killing farmers, we go and report to the army. The army is now beating us that came to report to the army. So if Sunday Igboho gets up and says this is wrong, Akeredolu gets up and says this is wrong, I support that. That's what leadership is about. You're supposed to be the mouthpiece for your people. If in the southeast you are constantly undermining them, you have the army occupying them as if it's Israel and Palestine, and they are complaining about it and they are standing up against it, I support that.
Yeah.
Now, what I don't support is taking that and morphing it into a kidnapping outfit, into a money laundering or money making or violence or killing people. I mean, you cannot be killing the people that you are fighting to protect. It makes no sense. Automatically, when you are doing that, it defeats the entire purpose. Yes. Because you might as well leave them at the mercy of the Nigerian army.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So, for me, I always support freedom. I always support peace. I always support justice.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
GRV, like I said, I find you refreshing. I hope. I know I've said I'm not optimistic about your court case, but
don't worry, we are winning.
I hope that when next we see,
and by God's grace, when we win, you play this podcast.
And then I hope that
cut this part out and say he said it too.
And I hope that when next we'll meet in where's the
you come to Marina,
right?
Or Alausa.
Exactly. But where can people go to support your campaign? Whether it's your court case to support you, do you have a website where they can
just follow me on Twitter, GRV Lagos. For me, honestly, let me be honest with you. The people have done over and beyond my expectations. I don't have the heart to be asking people for support right now. It's my time to fight now. So I'm doing that. They have done their own.
Yes.
They've given me the baton. Yes. It's my turn. All I ask for, just pray for me. Pray for me, pray for my family, pray for judiciary that God will guide them towards justice, give them courage to make the right decision. Pray for the legal team that God protects them, keeps them, guides them. That's all I ask for.
Brother, thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. It was a good conversation.
I'm so grateful. I really appreciate you coming here.
You're welcome.
Taking out the time. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Real pleasure. Nice one.